Okay, so I'm gonna say this. It is literally 12:15 in the morning when I'm recording this video. But I have to get it done, or else I'm going to forget tomorrow, and then I'm gonna end up uploading something else, like the plan for Sunday's video. But so yeah, today is the first edition of American Hockey League Sunday. I hope you guys are ready for this, and it's gonna be pretty fun. So we're talking about the Battle of PA AHL edition. Now this is with the Hershey Bears, Lehigh Valley Phantoms, and the Wilkes Barre Scranton Penguins. All these teams, they live actually remarkably close to me, and Hershey's like an hour away. Wilkes Barre is about 45 minutes away from me. And Lehigh Valley is right where I'm at right now. So I'm basically in Lehigh Valley right now. Well, at least my dad's in Lehigh Valley. So yeah, and my good friends are some of my good friends are at Hershey. A few others are at Wilkes Barre. I got people everywhere, so I'm pretty popular. No, not really. So yeah, today we're gonna be taking a look at the Hershey Bears history, my all-time players for them, and all that good stuff. It's only really like 2 players and a few honorable mentions, and all that good stuff. So we're gonna start off with the Hershey Bears. Their founding year was 1932. Oh, and by the way, some of these statistics might not be right. Like for example, Wilkes Barre. Some are saying 1999, some are saying 1981. I went with 1999. They've had 11 championships. They've appeared in the finals 12 times. Their standings this year in 2019-20 are 37-18-3, which is second in the American Hockey League behind the Providence Bruins. And it seems like they've pretty much been good their entire decade. They're the most successful Pennsylvania AHL team. Their best player in 2019-20, this is in the opinion of Winslow, it is Vitek Vanecek. He is a goaltender, 19-10-1. He's obviously pretty good if he only has 11 losses, and he's an all-star. Best players all time are Philip Mellette, Trevor Lewington, Liam O'Brien, and Matt Molson. Only Matt Molson I know, but those players are just new to me, so there you go. Best players in my time, which is 2017 to present, is Nathan Walker, which is, I think now is St. Louis, I want to say. I mean, I knew him. I have a hockey card of him. It's somewhere on this wall, but I knew him. I have a hockey card of him, and he's really the only Bear that I really remember. And Vitek Vanecek is the goaltender that I selected because, of course, he's a great goalie. Honorable mentions are Garrett Pylon and Christian Jujus, who could become some of my favorite all-time Hershey Bears in the next coming years. We will do this again. I will review my all-time favorites of Hershey and Lehigh Valley and all the other AHL teams. So yeah, there you go. Now we start off with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, and this is kind of where the stats kind of being wrong and me kind of getting in a little bit personal, because the Phantoms, of course, are right by me. The founding year was 1996. Championships, they won 1 championship, and that was in 2005. They haven't appeared in the finals since. Their standings in 2019-20 were 24, 28, and 26th in the AHL, so they weren't pretty good. Pretty much ever since Hextall's firing, they haven't been really good, because Hextall's been focusing on the American Hockey League, and what really shows that is in 2017-18, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals that year. So it goes to show that Hextall was really focused on that AHL team. Their best players in 2019-20 was Morgan Frost. In my opinion, he had 13 goals, 16 assists, and 19 points. He was an all-star. But in my opinion, I personally think that he probably would be higher. He's not the highest. He's only 1 point behind the other leading point scorer. The leading point scorer for the team. But I think he's probably the best player on this Phantoms team. Best players all time, you have Peter White, who's basically leading everything in skater records. You have Pete Vandermeer, who leads in penalty minutes. Neil Little, who leads all time in wins, and Neil Monroe, who is second in shutout by Neil Litter. Best players in my time, 2017 to present, are Phil Verone and Anthony Stolars. Stoley, the goalie, who went to Edmonton. I'm not sure. Yeah, he's on the goals right now, I think. I think I might have. Not too sure. But yeah, Stoley, the goalie, was one of my favorite Phantoms goaltender. He was one of my favorite Flyers goaltenders too. So, little note there. Phil Varone. I actually have a T-shirt of him. It's probably in my drawer over there. But I can't pull it out right now because A, I'm super tired, and B, it's all the way over there. So, yeah. Honorable mentions are Mike Vecchione, which was probably one of my favorite Phantoms all time. But he didn't stay too long in Philly, which was in Lehigh Valley, which you guys might think is kind of weird. And Alex Lyon, who my sister is like the biggest fan of her of all time. I don't know why she likes her so much. She likes him so much, but like I'm like, okay, you can like whoever you want. So Alex Lyon could become one of my favorite. Could pass Stolarz for one of my favorite goalies in Phantoms history. So there you go. And finally, we have the Wilkes Barre Scranton Penguins. Now, this is where the stats are kind of wrong, and I don't really have any standings, any, like, things for this team. I just kind of looked these stats up and all that stuff. So, after this, we will get into my personal stories with the Phantoms, because why not? So, their founding year was 1999. Some things were saying 1981, but I think it was 1999. They've won 3 championships. They'd appeared in 4 finals. Their standings in 2019-20 were 29, 26, and 3, 19th in the NHL. So better than the Phantoms, but not as good as the Bears. So their best player was Kevin Roy with 16 goals, 21 assists for 37 points. Their best players all time were Dennis Bonvie, Alain Nasreddine, Kevin Blom, and John Stanley. Their best players in my time, 2017 to present, were Casey DeSmith and John Nienberg. And the honorable mentions are Riley Barber and Phil Varone. I think those both were in the same trade to Pittsburgh. Now Phil Varone, he signed with the Canadiens in 2019 free agency, and then he got traded to Pittsburgh, and he's basically been bouncing around the AHL and the NHL ever since. So there you go. I don't know what it is with my favorite players ending up on my least favorite team, like Evan Rodriguez, because my name's Evan and his name is Evan. He's on the Penguins now. I'm like, what the heck? Where are these players going? Where are my favorite players going down to Pittsburgh? Before you know it, Kevin Hayes, Clayton Keller, and Jonathan Marchessault will be on the Penguins, and then I will probably stop watching hockey. So yeah, Phil Varone is probably going to become one of my favorite Wilkes Barre Scranton Penguins, once he establishes himself in there. If he establishes himself in there. Never know. So Riley Barber, he was part of the same trade as well. And now we get into the personal Phantom stories. There's not a lot. There's only really one. But I've been to a couple Phantoms games. A few against the Cleveland Monsters. I have not been to one against... I've not been to one against the Hershey Bears. I've been to ones with the Utica. I was going to go to one with the Utica Comets, but then I got sick. And I haven't gone to one since. I had to give the tickets to my friend, who watches the channel as well, and he's a big fan. So I was pretty angry about that. And then the one game that I did go to see against the Wilkes Barre Scranton Penguins was the final game of the season. The Phantoms, it was the final game of the season. Phantoms were already in the playoffs. It was in shootout, but my dad had to leave because he had work that night. I'm like, what the heck, Dad? Why'd you have to go to work? He's like, I'm sorry, Evan. So just watch the rest of the game on TV. They won in shootout. Of course, the Phantoms run into a run to the Eastern Conference Finals where they got swept by the Marlies. Ew. So, yeah, Toronto Marlies, which is basically the Toronto Maple Leafs, but with a different name, and Marlies written on the logo. So, yeah, there you go. So this is the first edition of AHL Saturday. And I know it's technically Saturday when I'm uploading this right now. But, yeah. So that's going to be the first one. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, do drop a like and subscribe. And I'm going to go to sleep.